Hi everyone, this video is an exercise 9e question 3. It's an interesting question that can seem complicated, but it's actually very simple. So we have a hiker who walks due north from A and after 8 kilometers reaches B. So it basically means that we have the starting point A and walks due north. So it's basically like a sort of essentially a vertical line. So we don't need the arrow here. So yeah, this is basically point B, and then when it says due north, that's the north line. And then she walks a further 8 kilometers on a bearing of 120 degrees to C. Now, from north line to the potential line that makes 120 degrees, it should be something like this, right? So it's going to be this line, say. So this is point C, because now this looks like 120 degrees angle. And then we obviously have the then from C to A. So in part A, also remember that the distance from A to B is simply 8 kilometers, and same thing with the distance of B to C, which is also 8 kilometers. Now, in part A, we want to work out the distance from A to C. So to find AC, we first need to find this angle here. And we know that this is a vertical line. So um, this angle is in total 180 degrees. So we do 180 minus 120 degrees. So this is 60 degrees. Here is 60 degrees. Now, the interesting part is that BC is 8 kilometers. BA is also 8 kilometers. So the first thing that we can say is that this is an isosceles triangle. But actually, this is an equilateral triangle. So it's a very special case, because remember that in an isosceles triangle, these two angles are equal, right? So if we then form the equation 2x plus 60, then this is equal to 180, and then when we calculate this, x is also equal to 60. So that means this is basically an equilateral triangle, and therefore AC is also 8 kilometers. So we didn't even use trigonometry, even though this is in the trigonometry section. So therefore AC is simply 8 kilometers. Now, in part B, we want to find a bearing of C from A. So it's essentially talking about this bearing here, which is 60 degrees. And to put that in the bearing form, we say 0 and 60 degrees. So that's the bearing of A from C, because remember, bearing is always from the north line, and it's a clockwise direction.